you have a song sheet, green song sheet. Opening song or Zarua. Or Zarua, la tzadik, u yishrei lev simcha. Or Zarua, la tzadik, u yishrei lev simcha. Light is sown for the righteous, joy for the upright in heart. Or Zarua, la tzadik, u yishrei lev simcha, u yishrei lev simcha. Or Zarua la tzadiku yishrei lev simcha, u yishrei lev simcha. Or Zarua la tzadik, u yishrei lev simcha. Light is sown for the righteous, joy for the upright in heart.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here. Shabbat Shalom. So there's a new Jew as of about midnight last night. Doesn't have a name yet, but he's 8 pounds, 14 ounces. Yeah, a big guy. Although when I said, I have one picture, it just looks like what newborn baby doesn't look like any other newborn baby? I mean, they all look the same. So it's like, oh, how nice. It looks like every other newborn, no, I didn't say that, but like, oh, lovely, it's so cute. And then I said, he looks like a really big guy, and she did not like that. She said, he's exactly 50 percentile. Okay. I wonder about that, though. 8 pounds, 14 ounces is 50th percentile? Whatever. You just smile. I have to just smile, go, okay. So that's that. I will be here, of course. I could not leave before the Sisterhood fashion show, so I tried on my clothes today, and always very excited about that. It's always a big highlight of the year. So thank you all for being here. Thank you to our president, Matthew Meyer. Thank you to our cantorial soloist, Andy Sussman, our pianist, Ruth Pavlo, our tech wizard, Xavier Leff in the back, and thank you anyone watching at home. So we will start with the lighting of the Shabbat candles. Let's see, so Claire Bendersky will light for us. And let's get this. Candle lighting is on page 120.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Blessed are you, God, source of all life, who brings us holiness through mitzvot, and who has given us the mitzvah of lighting the Shabbat candles.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Thank you, Yasher Koach. And we continue with the singing of Lecha Dodi, which is our song from the mystics of the northern Israeli town of Tzfat, who wrote about Shabbat as a beautiful bride coming in, being with us in our midst for 24 hours. So, and the final verse of Lecha Dodi, we rise and face the door and welcome the Shabbat bride. Lecha Dodi is on page 138.
Yana la 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 Lecha Dodi, Yana la 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 likrat kala, Yana la 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 pnei Shabbat, pnei Shabbat nekabela, Yana la 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 Lecha Dodi, Yana la 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 likrat kala, Yana la 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 pnei Shabbat, pnei Shabbat nekabela. שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ותפארת ולתהילה. Yana la 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 Lecha Dodi, Yana la 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 likrat kala, Yana la 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 pnei Shabbat, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat, lechu v'nelcha, ki mekor habracha. מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה מחשבה תחילה. יאללה לה 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 Lecha Dodi, יאללה לה 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 לקראת כלה, יאללה לה 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 פני שבת, פני שבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום, עטרת פלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, יאללה לה 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 Lecha Dodi, Yana la la likrat kala, Yana la 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 pnei Shabbat, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Yana la la Lecha Dodi, Yana la la likrat kala, Yana la 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 pnei Shabbat, pnei Shabbat nekabela.
Hatzi Kaddish, page 144. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, Be'amad divrach yirutei ve'amlech malchutei, B'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayedecho Beit Yisrael, Bagala, bagala, uvizman kariv, v'yemeru amen. Yehi shmei rabba mevarach, le'alam alal me'al maya, yitbarach, yitbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar, v'yitromam, v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal, shemei dukudesha berichu, le'ela min kol berchata, v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran bialma, v'yemeru amen. We continue with Baruch Hu, page 146. If you're able, you may rise.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Amen. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Shema, page 152, line from the book of Deuteronomy that reminds us that we are in a world of unity. It often does not feel that way, but on some level, there is holiness that connects all living things, all human beings, and sometimes if we can live that, even for a moment, we could potentially change the world. So Shema is on page 152.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
You may be seated. I'd like to call up Matthew Barris to lead us in the words that come right after Shema in the book of Deuteronomy, V'ahavta, the love and blessings that are woven throughout all of life's daily activities.
Adonai Elohecha b'kol levavecha uvechol nafshecha uvechol meodecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anohi mitzavcha hayom al levavecha v'shimnatam levanecha b'dibar tambam, b'shivtecha b'veitecha, uvletzecha v'adere, uvshachbecha uvtrumecha, uvshartam leo al yadecha, v'hayu letotafot beinenecha, uchatam al mezuzot beitecha, uvisharecha, l'man tisteru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai, v'hitem kedoshim lelohehem. Ani Adonai Elohehem, Asher Hotzarti Ethem, Meretz Mitzrayim, Mitzrat Lehoahem, Lelohim, Ani Adonai Elohehem.
Yesher Koach, very nice. And we continue with Micha Mocha on your song sheet, our people's song of freedom, and it comes in our Torah portion next week, very, very soon. We will be reading the portion of escape from years and years of oppression into an unknown future that we see right here in Micha Mocha.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש נורא תהילות, אוסף אלה, נורא תהילות, אוסף אלה. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש נורא תהילות, אוסף אלה. נורא תהילות אוסף אלה מלכותך ראו בניך בוקי הים לפני משה ומרים זה אלי אנו ואמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד יא לה 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 יא לה 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 יא לה 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 יא לה 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 Ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la. Who is like you? Who is like you? Who is like you? Adonai. Who is like you? Who is like you? Who is like you? Adonai. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai. Mi kamocha נהדר בקודש נורא תהילות אוסף אלה נורא תהילות אוסף אלה Who is like you? Who is like you? Who is like you? Adonai Who is like you? Who is like you? Who is like you? Adonai
Hashkivenu is our prayer of protection at night when things may seem filled with anxiety. And that is often what keeps people up at night. And Hashkivenu is a prayer that says it's not heavy machinery and metal forts that is going to keep us safe. It's building bridges of understanding among each other, that if there's any chance of a world of safety, that's where it lies, our connections we make with others. The one interpretation of Hashkivenu is by Noah Aronson, and it is on the other side of your song sheet.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Hashkivenu לשלום. השכיבנו, אדוני אלוהינו, השכיבנו לשלום. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storm.
We continue with the central portion of our worship service, the tefillah. I'd like to ask Molly Meyer to come up to help lead us, and it begins on page 164. If you're able, you may rise.
Adonai, Sifatai Tiftach, Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha. Adonai, Sifatai Tiftach, Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha. Open up our lips so we may praise your name. Open up our hearts so we may feel our pain. Open up our souls to let our love make us whole, and we will praise your name. Adonai, Sifatai Tiftach, Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha.
Adonai, Eloheinu, Velohei Avotenu V'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Velohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rahel, Velohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor V'Hanorah, El Elyon, Gomel Hasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, Vezoher Hastei Avot V'Imahot, Umevi Gulali V'nei V'neihem, Laman Shemo B'Ahava, Mele Ozer Umoshia Umagim, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Abraham, Bezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mehaye HaKol Atav Lavrushia, Mashiv HaRuah, Umarid HaGashem, Mechakel Hayim Behesed, Mehaye HaKol Be'rak Ramim Rabim, Somef Noflim Verofeh Holim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Mihamocha Bal Gevurot, Umido Mehela, Melet Mikmid, Umehayem, Umatmi Yeshua, V'nemana Talahayot HaKol, Baruch Atah Adonai, Mehaye HaKol, Atah Kadosh V'Shemocha Kadosh, U'Kadoshim B'chol Yom Halu Asela, Baruch Atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
Ah, beautiful. We continue with a moment of silent reflection, either with the prayers in our prayer book or the prayers of our hearts, and we continue either standing or sitting.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו, ועל כל ישראל, ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו אמן. יאללה לה לה לה, יאללה לה 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 לה, יאללה לה 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 לה, יאללה לה לה לה. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו אמן.
We keep in our thoughts and our prayers all who are in need of healing, physical healing, emotional healing, spiritual healing. On this Shabbat, we think of my daughter, Tanya Rappaport Fink, those who have lost homes in the California wildfires, the hostages who have been returned home from Gaza, and those who wait to be released. We remember these members and loved ones of our community who could use some healing prayers. Paul Aronson, David Appel, Avraham ben Roiza, Shlomo Betzalel ben Avraham, Ethan Campbell, Sandra Chesler, Brian Clohessy, Randy Clohessy, Jay Crystal, Terry Darmody, Rosa Bat Shmuel Uvat Sheva, Carol Fendel, Sandy Friedland, Shar Friedman, Rachel Galazan, Tracy Janetta, Alma Kalish, Julian Canner, Marion Kostrinsky, Shelley Lehner, Mark Merberg, Lila Nelson, Arkady Niazov, Harriet Radin, Arnold Reamer, Melinda Robbins, Rosalie Saltiel, Louise Samuels, Jason Sherman, Bobby Sherman-Gieshin, Robin Stein, Shmuel Zanvil Ben Moshe Tzvi, Katie Weinstock, Lori Weinstock. Are there others we wish to think of? We continue with our prayer of healing, Misha Berach, which is on your song sheet.
Misha Berach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak veYaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel veLeah Hu Yevarech v'yirapeh et hacholim Misha Berach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak veYaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel veLeah Hu Yevarech v'yirapeh et hacholim El narefanala El narefanala El narefanala El narefanala Misha Berach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak veYaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel veLeah Hu Yevarech v'yirapeh et hacholim.
Six terrible things had happened in the land within fairly quick succession. Agricultural blights, sicknesses, environmental disasters. Everyone was scared. Everyone had been affected. The leader had stuck with his mission throughout it all. He would not bend. He would not admit defeat. All that mattered was that he remained in authority. He was the chosen one, after all. He must maintain his status. These upstarts within his borders, challenging his authority, must not get their way. His chief advisors called an emergency meeting. They came to him and they were blunt. How long will you allow this group of rebels to be a major stumbling block to our great country? Just allow them to have their way, to observe their religious tradition in the way they request. Are you not aware that we as a world power are lost? It's over. Back down. The leader seemed open to some kind of dialogue. The rebel leaders were asked to come meet with him. They said, "We need for every one of our tribe to be free to go out of the country's borders to observe our holy seasonal festival." The leader sneered. "You think I'll trust you to take the entire tribal population out of the country? think again. You may go, but that's it. Take it or leave it. As it turned out, the rebel leaders left it. And another agricultural blight came upon the land, and another, and then mysterious deaths, lots of them, like a plague. Finally, the leader felt a sense of weakness. And that weakness, that humility, opened him up to seeing things differently. Not for very long, mind you, but long enough that change was possible. This summary of our Torah portion this week, Parashat Bo, early in the book of Exodus, should be familiar to most, if not all. We read this Torah story every year at our Passover Seder. And as Jews for hundreds and hundreds of years have understood, we are, as Jews, to take in this story as our own story. We are to see it as real and contemporary and of great import. We can see this story, just like any other Torah story, in a multitude of ways, and we can take from it a myriad of lessons. Rigidity is not a good trait in a leader. Leadership without humility will lead everyone astray. In leadership, it is best to be open to a variety and diversity of voices before making decisions. Honestly, all of this works whether we're talking about the running of a nation, the running of an organization, the running of a club or a group or a family. We all want things our own way. Who doesn't? It's hard to open ourselves to other perspectives, to those who say to us, wait a minute, maybe that's not the only way to see things. It can be quite difficult to have others tell us that they disagree with our take on a situation. It can be easy to close ourselves off to different opinions when we are emotionally and intellectually invested in our position. I think some good possible takeaways from Parashat Bo are that it's our Jewish responsibility to be flexible and open to others, especially when we are in leadership, either personally or professionally. And also that it is our responsibility to offer challenge, as did the chief aides to the Pharaoh when we see things going off the rails. I see this as a kind of tightrope. Don't be so authoritative that it silences other viewpoints, and don't be too mousy and silent when authority needs to be challenged. Life is, as we read in the biblical book of Ecclesiastes, about learning when to be silent and when to speak up. There's a time for each. May we move ever closer to the wisdom and understanding to know the difference and act upon it. Amen. And I'd like to call up Matthew Meyer to let us know some of the things going on at TBO.
Shalom. And congratulations to Nana Rabbi. Rabbi Nana? I don't know which order it goes.
I think he's just going to call me Nana. I don't think he's going to call me Rabbi, but
you never know.
You never know.
You
That's
never
true.
know. Thank you for the lovely sermon. Thank you, Andy, for the music, Ruth for the music, Xavier again for the sound and everything else, and thank you guys for being here and at home. This weekend we have the
Torah
Torah discussion on Zoom tomorrow. The link is in the email. It is a new link. We've talked about that, so check your email for it. Then Sunday is the big day. Any ladies in here modeling? I think we've got a couple. We've got 3, 4. I don't know. So anyway, join us at the Sisterhood Fashion Show. Friday, February 7th is the Family Shabbat Shira musical service, and February 14th is our Tu B'Shvat service. With memorial prayer from Marjorie Sullivan Douglas.
And February 15th, Bar Mitzvah service
Yes.
of Matthew Barris.
That's true. That's not on here. But
Saturday morning, February 15th.
There you go. Thank you all. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you. Okay, what are we doing? Aleinu next. We're just moving right along. I'd like to call up Claire Bendersky and Eric Bendersky to open our ark for Aleinu. And Aleinu can be found on page 586. And you may rise. Yep. And then.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא הוא נשמה, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהן, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Yasher Koach. And you may be seated. We remember those who have departed this earth, those who live on in our memories, in our hearts, who live on in all the ways that they brought their own unique gifts into our world. And on this Shabbat, during his time of Shiva, we remember our TBO member, Jacques Bendersky, who died on Wednesday. During their time of Shloshim, we remember Brenda Weinstock, mother of Mark Weinstock, and Linda Altman, mother of Mindy Patrick. We remember those whose yahrzeits fall this week: Minnie Cohen, Martin Dreyfus, Leo Kleiman, Celia Levinson, Evelyn Lewis, Larry Mantell, Benjamin Riddell, Faye Ritberg, Henry Roth, Faye Roth, Joseph Samuels, Sidna Schwartz, Chester Silver, Deborah Weber, and all those who lost their lives in the midair collision over National Airport this week. Are there others we wish to remember on this Shabbat? We honor their memories as we recite Mourner's Kaddish on page 598, and you may rise. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah.
Amen.
Bialma divrach rute viamlech malchute. B'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael. Gala uvizman kari v'imru. Amen. Yehei shmei rabba nevarach la'olam almei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemed kudsha berichu. La'ela min kol berachata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Damiran bialma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. V'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. V'imru. Amen. V'imru, v'imru, v'imru. Amen. V'imru, v'imru, v'imru. Amen. You may be seated. We move from our sacred prayer of memory to the joy of the Shabbat day. And that is, of course, symbolized with challah and wine and or juice. I'd like to call up Matthew and Molly and Bradley to lead us in Kiddush and Motzi. You can find Kiddush on page, there you go. Kiddush is on page 123. Everyone have a Kiddush? Okay. You can start. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratza b'anu, v'shabbat kodsho, v'ahava uvratzon yinhelanu, zikaron lema'aseh bereshit, ki hu yom tehila lamikraye kodesh, zeher letziat mitzrayim, ki banu b'hartav v'yatanu kidashta mikol hamim v'shabbat kodsha be'ahava uvratzon yinhaltanu baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat. Amen. Ooh, gets a nod of approval from Molly. That's hot, that's tough. Pretty good. That's pretty good from you is very good. Okay, Mitzi.
Ready? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Bone. And as they have a piece of challah. Wow, a little tiny mouse size. And also, guys, you can get your stickers from President Meyer. And we can conclude, oh, there's a little bigger piece. We can conclude with the singing of Ein Keloheinu on page 626.
Keloheinu, en Kadonenu, en Kemalkeinu, en Kemoshienu, en Keloheinu, en Kadonenu, en Kemalkeinu, en Kemoshienu. Mi Eloheinu, מי חדוננו, מי חמקנו, מי חמושיענו. נודה לאלוהינו, נודה לאדוננו, נודה למלכנו, נודה למושיענו. אין כאלוהינו, אין כאדוננו, אין כמלכנו, אין כמושיענו. אין כאלוהינו, אין כאדוננו, אין כמלכנו, אין כמושיענו. ברוך אלוהינו, ברוך אדוננו, ברוך מלכנו, ברוך מושיענו. אתה הוא אלוהינו, אתה הוא אדוננו, אתה הוא מלכנו, אתה הוא מושיענו. אין כאלוהינו, אין כאדוננו, אין כמלכנו, אין כמושיענו. אין כאלוהינו, אין כאדוננו, אין כמלכנו, אין כמושיענו.
But shalom. Join us for Oneg in the breezeway.